The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. Those powerful words from J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan speak to the fundamental truth that our beliefs shape our reality. If we believe something is impossible, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if we can embrace the audacious mindset that nothing is out of reach, we unlock a world of limitless potential. Today we're going to shatter the chains of self-imposed limitations. We are going to cast off the shackles of doubt and fear that have held us back for far too long. It's time to spread our wings and soar to heights we once thought unimaginable. I'm going to let you in on a secret that transformed my life, a mental toughness mantra that has allowed me to achieve things that once seemed utterly out of reach. Are you ready? Here it is. Act as if you already are the person you want to become. Act as if you have already achieved your biggest goals and wildest dreams. When you catch yourself thinking limiting thoughts like, I'll never be able to do that, or that's impossible for someone like me, stop yourself. Interrupt that toxic inner voice and replace it with, why not me? I'm acting as if I can. This may sound like some sort of self-delusion, but I assure you it is one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make. By acting as if you have already achieved the impossible, you start carrying yourself with a supreme confidence. Your thoughts, words, and deeds align with your desired reality, rather than accepting limitations based on your current circumstances. Let me share a story to illustrate the power of this mindset. In a moment of true transformation, I once shared how a simple act of belief profoundly changed my entire outlook. Initially, I viewed my $100,000 life insurance policy as sufficient, but during an enlightening encounter, a life insurance agent saw greater potential in me and urged me to envision myself as someone deserving of $1 million policy. This wasn't merely about insurance. It was a pivotal moment of self-realization, and I'm accepting a higher level of responsibility for my family's future. Confronted with such a powerful belief in my capabilities, I decided to act as if I already embodied that more influential, responsible persona. I embraced the challenge, adjusted my self-perception, and secured the $1 million policy. This decision catalyzed a significant shift in my mindset. Over time, living as if I were a $1 million person not only transformed my internal self-view, but also echoed through my achievements and the scale of my ambitions. It's a testament to the power of acting as if a principle that can lead us to achieve the seemingly impossible. You see, when you genuinely embrace an act as if mentality, you stop making excuses. You stop allowing your doubts, fears, and insecurities to dictate the limits of what's possible for you. The impossible becomes simply a temporary inconvenience to be overcome. Think about it. Every singularly great achievement or revolutionary innovation began with someone bucking conventional wisdom, acting as if the doubters and naysayers were wrong, acting as if the odds were irrelevant, acting as if their vision of what was possible, despite the apparent limitations, was destined to become a reality. The Renaissance arose because pioneers like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci acted as if the regressive thinking of the day couldn't contain their artistic and intellectual genius. The light bulb was invented because Thomas Edison acted as if thousands of failed attempts were merely stepping stones to his inevitable success rather than confirmation of impossibility. More recently, world-changing innovations like the smartphone, the internet, virtual reality, all existed first in the minds of dreamers who steadfastly acted as if these fanciful ideas were an inevitability despite the overwhelming skepticism they faced. Every single boundary pushed, stretched, and ultimately shattered by those who adamantly acted as if nothing was out of reach. Why then should you place any limits on what you can achieve? Why should you believe that your own dreams, goals, and ambitions are out of reach just because others perceive them as improbable or impossible based on your current circumstances? I'm here to issue a battle cry. It's time to act as if nothing is out of reach for you, not just for a delusional moment, but as a permanent, unshakable mindset. All that separates you from living out your grandest vision is a divine decision to cast off the psychological weight of perceived limitations. From this day forward, you must act as if. You already possess the unwavering self-confidence, an unflappable belief in yourself required to blow past any obstacle in your path. You already embodied the skills, traits, and qualities needed to excel at the highest levels. You already have the burning passion an insatiable hunger for achievement propelling you through any adversity or setback. You already radiate the magnetism and persuasive power to rally others behind your vision and inspire them. You already operate from a higher plane of consciousness, aligned with a cosmic force aiding your inevitable success. My friends, this is no theoretical concept. This act as if mindset is quite literally how I reshaped my entire life trajectory, going from a struggling, broke nobody with minimal prospects to achieving wealth, fulfillment, and impact in ways I never could have previously conceived. But it's not just my story. Throughout history, you find example after example of those who employed this act as if philosophy to shatter limitation. Act as if you're already a billionaire CEO and you're Bill Gates and Michael Dell defying the skeptics to build tech empires. You act as if you're already a world-changing scientist and you're Marie Curie and Albert Einstein revolutionizing our understanding of physics and chemistry despite the systemic barriers you face. And act as if you're already a visionary creative force and you're Walt Disney envisioning immersive story worlds and Oprah Winfrey overcoming abuse and adversity to build a media empire. The common thread, they all acted as if their dreams were predestined, no matter how far-fetched they seemed to others. And because they cultivated that mindset with relentless consistency, they transcended limitations to create world-changing legacies. I beg you, please don't resign yourself to a life of regret and a constant gnawing sense that you settled for far less than you were capable of. Liberate yourself from the psychological cage of self-limiting beliefs. Nothing is out of reach if I simply act as if. From this moment on, carry yourself with the supreme confidence that you will make the impossible possible. After all, champions in any endeavor don't become champions by entertaining defeatist thoughts of impossibility. They flat out refuse to conceive of failure as an option. When you act as if your dreams are destined to become reality, excuses and rationalizations for mediocrity become impossible to accept. Making the sacrifices, putting in the work, and persisting through challenges becomes automatic because your internal reality has shifted. Giving up or settling is simply not compatible with acting, as if you've already achieved greatness. To illustrate this point, let's conduct a powerful mental exercise. I want you to vividly imagine your biggest, most audacious goal or dream, the one you've perhaps dismissed as implausible or impossible based on where you are now. Got it? Now I want you to close your eyes and act as if that goal has already been achieved. Feel the confidence, excitement, and serenity as you walk through life, knowing you've defied the odds and accomplished something extraordinary. Really immerse yourself in the mindset and psychology of someone operating from that truly unlimited headspace. Don't just visualize the trappings of success, but drink in the intoxicating nectar of being a limitless person who has rendered the impossible. Can you feel that radiating sense of power? That profound self-belief and calm assurance born of having stretched past perceived limitations. That's what it feels like to operate from an act, as if nothing is out of reach frequency. And I can promise you, it's one of the most incredible mindsets you'll ever experience. From my own journey of rising up from nothing, I can attest that this thought virus is like a sustaining force field propelling you inexorably towards your dreams. Obstacles that once felt daunting become temporary inconveniences. Naysayers who mock you as delusional become background noise, drowned out by your relentless forward momentum. You stop rationalizing limitations and start gravitating towards solutions through sheer force of unshakable faith. Does this mean your path will be free of adversity, hardship, failure, and setbacks? Of course not. Those are inevitable when you choose to pursue the extraordinary rather than resigned complacency. But how you react to and persevere through those setbacks is fundamentally reshaped by operating from an act as if reality. Since you've already internalized achievement as fait accompli, giving up or shrinking back is simply not an option your psyche can accept. When you act as if nothing is out of reach, the only perceived risk becomes denying your own limitless potential. You still may fall at times, but you develop an inexhaustible reserve of resilience to get back up every single time knowing your vision is destined for fruition. So as we embark on this new chapter of limitless living today, let this be a rallying cry for you to stay committed to this audacious mindset shift. It may feel strange at first to carry yourself with the self-assurance of having already manifested your dreams, but that feeling will fade With consistency and repetition of affirmative thoughts and beliefs, your internal reality and resultant external world must ultimately align. And lest you think this is some abstract self-help psychobabble, there are concrete tactics you can employ to ingrain and strengthen this act as if personification. Start your days with mental priming rituals where you vividly visualize your desired life while embodying the thoughts, emotions, and physiology of someone already there. Maintain a vision chronicle detailing your accomplished dreams already in the present tense to solidify that reality. Schedule periodic act as if sessions where you role-play fulfilling your dreams through spoken affirmations and power postures. Surround yourself with people, books, music, images, etc. that inspire and reinforce an acting as if mindset. The more you consistently fortify this act, as if psychology is your baseline existence, the more you penetrate the quantum field and collapse infinite possibilities into your empirical reality. At the same time, you must pair this unwavering belief with relentless work and discipline. Those who act as if are unstoppable because they combine supreme self-belief with supreme commitment to earning their desires. In other words, don't merely act as if you've already arrived without doing the work and making the sacrifices to justify manifesting that reality. Universal principles demand you combine act as if with becoming as if through passionate, disciplined action. But do so knowing you are behaving in philosophical and pragmatic alignment with obtaining your aims. Your renewed mindset fuels your drive and determination to do whatever it takes, rather than allowing obstacles to disempower you. My friends, at this very moment, you all face a powerful choice. You can continue allowing defeatist self-talk and externally imposed limitations to dictate the boundaries of your life. You can resign yourself to sleepwalking through days shackled by mediocrity, settling for a fraction of your potential, because you've convinced yourself that's your lot in life. You can live out the rest of your years harboring that constant gnawing sense of regret and unfulfilled desires, forever wondering what if you had dared to believe bigger and pushed past the psychological limitations holding you back from your dreams. Choice B, you can shed those figurative psychological weights once and for all and reclaim your birthright as a limitless being. You can make the definitive decision to embrace and act as if nothing is out of reach mentality and live in radical alignment with that persona. You can start operating from a plane of stratospheric self-belief, letting no skeptic, setback, or circumstance disrupt your certainty and forward progress. You can own your power and sovereignty to dictate your own reality rather than accepting the limits someone else has tried to impose. You can develop supreme trust in your ability to continually elevate, adapt, and grow into the limitless version required to realize your visions. You can finally put a stop to the internal mental terrorism of playing it small and selling yourself catastrophically short. The choice is yours, but I sincerely hope you'll join me in emphatically proclaiming, I'm all in on acting as if nothing is out of reach, because when you commit to embodying that mindset with full conviction, I promise an incredible alchemy will start occurring in your life. Doors will open, synchronicities will abound, and you'll find yourself buoyed by an incredible slipstream accelerating you toward your dreams. And at long last, you'll experience the most sublime sensation of all, the cathartic freedom of obliterating every psychological limitation that previously made aspects of your life feel hopeless or out of reach. What an incredible realization when you know with certainty that you possess the power to shape reality according to your beliefs rather than succumbing to the limits of current circumstances. So let this rousing speech be the clarion call for you to let go of playing small and self-imposed limitations once and for all. Commit here and now to acting as if nothing is out of reach, then watch how quickly the impossible becomes the inevitable. I guarantee when you look back years from now at the life you once dreamed of manifesting, you'll be eternally grateful you heeded this empowering message. Now repeat after me, say it loud with full conviction. From this day forward, I will act as if nothing is out of reach for me. I banish all forms of self-doubt, fear, and defeatist thinking from overtaking my mindset. I fully own the reality that my life's potential is unlimited and I have the power to achieve any dream or goal I can conceive. There will be no more excuses, paralysis, or playing small from me. Only relentless belief in my limitless abilities combined with disciplined action to grow into that limitless version of myself. No obstacle will deter me because I'm already operating from the reality of having manifested my grandest visions. I move with the steadfast confidence of someone destined for greatness. This is my supreme commitment to living in radical congruence with audacious self-belief and an act as if nothing is out of reach mentality. And in doing so, I take my first defiant step into unlocking the full magnitude of my unlimited potential as a limitless human being. Let's get to work. The greatest barrier we face in achieving our biggest dreams isn't lack of resources, connections, or even talent. It's our own minds conspiring to convince us those dreams are out of reach. We become imprisoners of our own potential by accepting limiting beliefs and self-doubt as inevitable facts rather than destructive fictions to be discarded. But what if we could flip that script? What if instead of gazing at our visions through a lens of perceived impossibility and resignation, we decided to operate from the psychological experience of having already achieved them? That simple but profound shift is the essence of acting. As if, you see, your mind doesn't actually know the difference between a vividly imagined reality and empirical reality. At least not at first. By fully immersing yourself in the thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and self-talk of having already accomplished your greatest desires, you essentially trick your psyche into aligning with that new reality. And as you sustain that psychological congruence, your mind's reticular activating system begins attracting and focusing on opportunities to substantiate that invented. It's almost like manifesting from a new level of consciousness. You transcend self-imposed limitations and memories of past failure or disappointment because you're no longer anchored to that saturated psychology. Your new act as if existence crowds out the limiting beliefs and fear-based thoughts that previously kept you stuck. Every fiber radiates with expectation, inevitability, and limitless belief in yourself, rather than seeds of doubt. Does this mean you can simply dream your way to success without immense work and discipline? Of course not. You must pair this psychological metamorphosis with relentless daily action in service of your vision. But now those actions are charged with supreme confidence, excitement, and trust in the process, because you already expect eventual victory. It's simply a matter of bridging the gap between your new act as if psychology and your external reality. The keys are immersion, surrender, and consistency in maintaining this new mindset identity. It may feel uncomfortable or inauthentic at first, but that's just your former limiting beliefs rearing their head one last time before being starved into oblivion. Stay the course, immersing yourself in every aspect of this new act as if persona, and your external world is cosmic law to morph into congruence. Developing the courage and discipline to live this way requires profound inner work. You must uproot years of faulty programming, fear-based thinking, and disempowering narratives fueled by societal conditioning and your own past experiences. This is no easy psychological weight to shed, but every moment you catch yourself reverting to limiting thoughts and self-doubt, you now have the power to interrupt that loop and pivot back to acting as if mode. It's a continual practice of mental control, vigilantly policing your inner self-talk to preserve the supreme confidence and unshakable belief in yourself required for this mindset to solidify. You'll falter, you'll stumble, you'll experience moments of regression where you get seduced back into fear and doubt. But now you have the cognitive prowess to quickly course, correct, and keep yourself centered in your new act as if existence. The more you sustain this, the more you'll notice tangible shifts in your external reality. Things that once felt impossibly out of reach start feeling ordained and inevitable. Mental blocks and roadblocks dissolve in the face of your faith that you'll find a way. People and circumstances miraculously start aligning to facilitate your vision as you expel repelling energy. It's not some woo-woo fantasy, but provable psychology. When you fundamentally operate from a new belief that nothing is out of reach, you start calibrating to that new frequency at a subatomic neurological level. And as you're broadcasting those new elevated belief vibrations into the quantum field, your reality has no choice but to synchronize if you maintain that high expectation resonance. So keep immersing in your new act as if mindset, no matter how audacious your dreams. Envision them as accomplished facts while feeling the emotions of that achievement. Start telling yourself new empowering stories where you're already embodying the qualities required to manifest those visions. Speak and move with the charm and confidence of knowing you're destined for greatness. Let that reinvented psychology become your impenetrable source of conviction, perseverance, and forward momentum. And watch how quickly you start defying your own former boundaries of possibility and achieving feats you previously relegated to the realm of fantasy. By inculcating this act as if nothing is out of reach philosophy into your core being, you make room for infinite abundance to flow into your life. You shed the limitations, scarcity mindsets, and psychological handcuffs that previously restrained your greatness. You become a magnet for serendipity and endless resources conspiring to help you succeed. Most importantly, you claim your birthright as a limitless being fully actualized into your highest human potential. Nothing is out of reach because you've decided that to be your new immutable truth. All that's left is the inspired action to continually grow into that version of yourself. So get out there and start acting as if nothing can contain you. Because from this point forward, that's your new empowered reality. At its core, this philosophy represents the ultimate freedom. Freedom from the self-imposed psychological prison of perceived limitations and scarcity thinking. When you commit to acting as if you've already transcended every perceived boundary or constraint, you liberate yourself from the toxic chains of fear, doubt, and disempowering beliefs that previously held you captive. Can you imagine what life would be like operating from that new level of expansive thinking and unwavering self-belief? It would be a near spiritual experience, as if actualized enlightenment had freed you to perceive reality through a fresh lens of limitless possibility. Every form of mental block, anxiety, or self-sabotaging tendency dissolves in the face of such unapologetic personal sovereignty. From that empowered vantage point, you shift into a new stratosphere of what's possible. You stop unconsciously filtering out or dismissing opportunities and ideas as unrealistic or unattainable. Your mind remains radically open, unburdened of the psychological friction that previously kept you grounded in fear and playing small. This profound internal reset provides a launchpad to start chasing your grandest visions with sublime conviction, personal breakthroughs, exponential growth, and achieving feats you once considered impossible become the new normal baseline. You evolve into an impassioned, dedicated, disciplined version of yourself capable of superhuman productivity and accomplishment simply because nothing seems out of reach on an unconscious level. Make no mistake, this is no sugar-coated self-help platitude or fanciful wishful thinking. Continually acting as if you've already conquered every conceivable limitation requires intense psychological fortitude. You must become a master of your mindset, vigilantly policing your thoughts to align with this empowering new paradigm. It means automatically interrupting and reframing any self-doubting impulses, pessimistic projections, or defeatist inclinations that threaten to derail you from your new unstoppable self-perception. You proactively catch those narratives in their infancy, starving them of any oxygen before they can take terrifying existential form and jeopardize your ability to act as if nothing is off limits. In many ways, it's akin to brainwashing yourself into rejecting mediocrity or failure as a plausible outcome. Your new act as if psyche simply won't entertain those self-sabotaging fear projections because they're incompatible with your new elevated consciousness and supreme belief in your inherent power. This daily mental self-mastery becomes paradoxically easier once the act as if mindset alchemy starts catalyzing results you previously thought unattainable. Each goal or milestone achieved while operating from this enlightened frequency further reinforces the validity of convictions. You nurture an insatiable hunger and expectation for continually raising your performance bar because you've freed yourself from destructive cap setting. What's equally empowering is witnessing how this mentality shift transforms the people and dynamics around you. Some may initially recoil at your newfound shameless audacity and boundary pushing. But as you persistently act as if your biggest goals are destined to manifest, those attitudes eventually succumb to your magnetism and resolute charisma. Momentum builds, serendipity flows, and you discover yourself commanding the same level of belief from others that you've masterfully cultivated within yourself. People want to get on board with audacious visionaries who relentlessly expect bigness and back it up with inspired, congruent action. At its zenith, Acting as if nothing is out of reach represents a supreme level of psychological, emotional, and philosophical self-actualization. You start experiencing the world from a truly empowered, limitless vantage point where artificial constraints, excuses, and self-handicapping cease to exist. Every ounce of your being aligns with fulfilling your boundless human potential precisely because you've erased the very notion of limits from your consciousness. From this exalted peak mindset, you quite literally co-create a new reality of abundance, synchronicity, and having the universe conspire to facilitate your visions. Not because of some fanciful woo-woo wishful thinking, but from the science of ushering your circumstances into congruence with your most deeply held beliefs, thoughts, and expectations. That's the incredible promise of what awaits those who fully embrace acting as if nothing is out of reach. It provides a launchpad for attaining every imaginable goal or dream, not just financially or professionally, but on a soul level of profound inner freedom, empowerment, and spiritual actualization. So if you've been trapped in environments, relationships, or self-imposed mental prisons convincing you to accept artificial boundaries and limiting beliefs, if you found yourself sleepwalking through life, resigned to mediocrity, or perpetually settling for far less than your immense potential, if you're simply ready to activate the dormant reservoirs of courage, self-belief, and psychological mastery lying, and wait for the confident soul willing to claim them, then let this philosophy of acting as if nothing is out of reach be the spark that ignites your transformation into the limitless version of yourself the universe has been inexorably summoning. Because the profoundly empowering truth awaits anyone willing to shed the psychological shackles holding them back. Whether you believe you're destined for extraordinary achievement or convinced you'll remain painfully trapped in limitation and scarcity, you'll be right.